You know, there's been a lot of outrage on social media about this year's Pride Parade in Toronto. If you saw the graphic images or attended the parade, you know what I'm talking about. We'll have some of the images from the parade shortly, as they have been blurred, but a warning that some of you may find some of the images disturbing. It seems that certain participants went way over the top and walked the parade completely naked, exposing themselves for many to see, including kids. Now, is that even legal? How were parade participants allowed to get away with that? Ari Goldkind is a criminal defense lawyer and joins us now from Toronto to give us his thoughts. Ari, let me ask you, is this even legal in Canada?
Well, it depends on who's in charge on a given day. Right now in the Canada we all have to live in, because it was a Pride Day or Pride Week, it now becomes, according to the Toronto Police Service in my city, this is now legal. But if you look up the basic definitions in section 173 and 174 of the Criminal Code, which are not written in complicated legalese, this is not only absolutely against the law, this is the kind of behavior that the law is geared to protect people against. One, from the point of view of exposure to somebody under the age of 16, and two, exposure to non-consenting adults.
Now, many people took to social media expressing their anger and their outrage that certain Pride participants exposed all, so to speak. The Toronto Sun reported that there have been some within the LGBTQ2+ community who were angered as well, as saying that that's not what Pride is really all about.
That's a really interesting talking point. I talk about that a lot in my political life too, that there really seems to be a disconnect between two segments of the LGB, and then you add in the T to that community, of just how much involvement there is in a desire to expose all kinds of lifestyles. And I'm not commenting on them. I'm a live and let live person. But the second that you're doing this, when you know that there are 5, 10, 15-year-olds there. Whether or not 5, 10, 15-year-olds should be exposed to this, that's a longer conversation. But when it comes to the criminal law has two very specific sections about this. Section 173, which covers indecent act and exposure, and section 174, which is very, very specifically about nudity, whether you're on your own property or public property. And the fact that the Toronto police say, well, it's Pride Day, so it's one out of the 365 days in a calendar, and it's the only one that it's okay, that should raise an eyebrow. And the other thing that your viewers should know is that there are many sections of the criminal code now in the world that we live in that are really tailored to preventing people under the age of 16, kids under the age of 16, from being exposed to anything in the sexual realm. And when you look at the videos or the pictures of what these men were doing with lots of youngsters, I mean really young children, walking by them and a number of non-consenting adults, the Toronto Police Service, in my view, have demonstrated, and again, this is the byproduct of the world and the political time we live in, a tremendous amount of cowardice because they don't want to be called a name.
Thanks so much, Ari. That was Ari Goldkind, criminal defense lawyer based in Toronto. And by the way, Bridge City News reached out to the organizers of the Toronto Pride Parade and Toronto Police for comment, but have yet to hear back.